hiding something from me.
Bound next Tuesday on NBC and streaming on Peacock.
Do you know what date this is?
Not guilty.
Today the LA riots began.
He tried to protect his store and was killed. You're here to save him.
Just trust me.
We need to get out of here now.
Quantum Leap, Wednesday on NBC.
Summer skies, they warm up everything. Then fall comes around, and you know it's getting near. Christmas, my favorite time.
Experience so much Christmas the way Santa does.
Good evening on this Halloween night. Chris Allen here, News 40 at 10. We've had some clouds and still getting some breezes across the area. And look off to the north. There were some snowflakes flying around the Lexington area and Richmond, north of E-Town as well. All of this with a weak cold front as it's passing through the area. Morning lows started out in the 20s, and I think that's where we're going to land again tonight for another hard freeze across the area as temperatures dive back down to 25. It'll be breezy with that hard freeze. There is a warm-up coming. We just got to wait a few days. Your 7-day forecast coming up.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight for News 40 at 10. I'm Noah Fairber. Well, straight to our top story. We now know the names of the two people who died this morning on Veterans Memorial Highway in Allen County. Kentucky State Police says they got a call around 5 this morning to investigate a deadly collision in the 5500 block of Veterans Memorial. KSP says after their investigation, they determined that 53-year-old Jose Alfaro and his wife, 49-year-old Ana Alfaro, both of Bowling Green, were driving southbound when they hit a deer. They both got out of the vehicle and were standing in the road when Javier Portillo of Bowling Green hit their vehicle and the couple. Both Jose and Ana Alfaro were pronounced dead at the scene. Well, a Bowling Green man will soon learn how much time he'll spend behind bars after pleading guilty to a 2021 murder. According to court documents, Dedrick J. Anderson pleaded guilty to the shooting death of 23-year-old Tavion Bibb. Officials say Anderson entered his plea during a jury trial on Monday. Bowling Green police say that Anderson shot Bibb multiple times outside of Three Brothers Bar on Main Street on January 10th, 2021. Bibb was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Anderson is due back in court for sentencing on December 12th. Well, more local news now. For some in our community, getting to the polls, even with open polling places, may be a challenge. This year, though, GoBG and the Historic Rail Park are both offering low or no-cost transit on Election Day. News 40 reporter Tucker Covey took a ride today to learn more about this new service for the community.
For some without a car, it is difficult to cast their vote, but GoBG and the Bowling Green Trolley are trying to help with that. GoBG is an affordable option that drops off at or near some polling locations, and the trolley will be going directly to some polling locations.
We have 5 routes that run 12 hours from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. So they're running the whole time that the polling locations are open. We have routes that take you all over the community. So depending on where you live and what's the closest polling location, you can go to the website, find the map. You can actually go use the Move It feature on the website, and you can put in your location and where you need to go, and it'll tell you the most efficient way to get there.
The low-cost service is much more than just a way to get to the polls, but on Election Day, it lends itself to saving money on gas and being able to cast your vote in the general election.
We're working to educate the public. That is probably our biggest challenge, is educating the public on that transit exists in Bowling Green. And for $2, it will take you anywhere.
The private trolley service from the Historic Rail Park is free and gives riders a direct line to a polling place and a ride back.
On November 7th, the trolley will operate as a hop-on, hop-off option for people to get to the polls and vote. And so we actually have 6 stops that we'll be making that day. We're going to run from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We've got 4 spots where we're picking up, and then 2 spots that are actually voting locations where we will drop people off.
In Bowling Green, because local matters, Tucker Covey, WNKY News 40.
Thank you, Tucker. Well, as Halloween comes to an end, we hope every one of our viewers had a safe time while they were out and about tonight. If you tuned in at 5 or 6 this evening, you would have seen News 40 live at the legendary Pumpkin Alley in the Briarwood neighborhood of Bowling Green, where the streets are shut down for a few hours to allow a safe trick-or-treating experience. We talked to a few people out there, one of which a college student who's been in Briarwood his whole life, and he remembers what it was like around a decade ago.
Yeah, so it was kind of like a community thing that got put together, just some neighbors trying to think of something, and we finally started thinking about putting pumpkins out here and some carvings, and it ended up becoming a lot bigger than we could imagine. It's obviously really struck the crowd that everyone really likes it out here, so it's enjoyable for sure.
We also ran into 2 sisters who were out trick-or-treating who told us their favorite part of Halloween and why they like to frequent the Briarwood neighborhood.
Definitely getting to hear all of the scary stories and getting to spend time with my family. Because the people are very nice and they always give me good treats.
Residents on the block told us they spend at least $200 on candy a year and that a couple of thousand kids come through. Despite what you're seeing on your screen, though, this year was apparently light on trick-or-treaters. But even though our 4-legged friends have fur with this cold weather, pets can get cold too. That's why the Butler County Animal Shelter put out a post today advising animal owners to look out for their dogs and cats as we face colder days. A shelter worker we spoke to said straw is the way to go for outside animals, no blankets. Salt used to melt ice and snow can burn your pet's paws, so be sure to wash them after a walk, and just breaking the wind by doing things like putting up tarps. And don't be afraid to put a coat on your dog if they happen to have shorter hair.
That's really important. You know, they can get frostbite just like us. They can, get hypothermia and things like that. So it's really important to monitor your pet, especially if they are living outside.
She also says that if you're concerned about your animal's exposure to the cold, have a vet check them as soon as possible. According to her, it's hard for animals to come back from frigid temperatures at times. Well, we officially have a highest bidder for Bowling Green's famous murder mansion, and the timing on Halloween, well, it couldn't be better. The multi-story home that sits off of Cemetery Road in Bowling Green sold for $1.17 million at auction. The home got its name after a brutal double murder 70 years ago, and the spine-tingling stories of Murder Mansion have also been the focus of local haunted walking tours and a book by local author Wes Switek. Daylight savings is impacting all of us this weekend, and getting enough sleep makes a difference in everyone's day. News 40 reporter Carlisle Coppins has more on the story.
Times are changing, literally. And with daylight saving, this could impact how we function throughout our daily lives.
If our job was to turn the lights on and off in Mammoth Cave, every night we turn the lights off a little later, and every morning we turn the lights on a little later. Our brain clock is longer than 24 hours.
Changing the time can be exhausting, and a few people want to stay in one standard time all the time. There's even an act that has been signed by the state of Kentucky that can make this happen.
The Sunshine Act was designed to actually make it so that we stay on one time all the time. When it is in effect officially as law, then Kentucky goes along with it. But we're not there yet, so we're still going to have to fall back, and we're still going to have to spring forward until that law goes into effect.
Since the act has not been passed, daylight saving is a go. You may think you can use this extra hour as an excuse to stay up later, but you really shouldn't.
Depression is clearly linked to not enough sleep. Weight control is clearly linked to not enough sleep. If we're not sleeping enough, we have to have more energy. We need to eat more. Even if we're not expending all that energy, makes us gain weight. Lots of problems occur when people don't sleep enough. So I would encourage all of us to try and get 8 hours of sleep every night.
Although it's easier to stay up later, not enough sleep is not good for anyone. It can affect all ages, especially children. People need to be sleeping at least 8.5 to 9 hours.
Good rest means better athletic performance and better academic performance. It's a key to success in life.
In Bowling Green, because local matters, Carlisle Coppins, WNKY News 40.
Thank you, Carlisle. Well, let's throw things over now to Weather Chief Chris Allen for a look at the weather. Chris, it's a cold night out there. What can we expect?
It is, but I question that one expert that they interviewed in that piece there about daylight saving. The one that looks like me, not the doctor, not the actual doctor. I won't question him. He knows what he's talking about. He has a Daffy Duck tie on. All right, temperatures right now in the 30s across the area. And with the winds coming in from the northwest, 5 to 10 to 15, well, that makes it feel even chillier. Current wind chills or feels like temperatures are starting to pop up into the 20s, and I think we're going to feel even chillier than that as the rest of the evening goes on. So highs today around 50, but that happened early in the day. 31 was our low for the past 24 hours. We're going to keep running below average on temperature for a little bit longer. Then a warm-up is coming. Your forecast in just a few minutes, but right now, Patrick has a preview of sports.
All right, thanks, Chris. We have plenty coming up in sports tonight. WKY Women's Hoops hosted a spooky preseason matchup at Diddle Arena tonight to tip off the 2023 season. We have that full recap in just a few minutes. Plus, see what head coach Mike Vrabel said about the quarterback situation heading into Thursday Night Football. That's all in sports. Noah?
Thank you, Patrick. Well, the UAW and major automakers have finally come to an agreement. These contracts are big news for those working at Louisville's Ford plants. David Mattingly is already finding encouraging signs for workers there as well.
As one of the city's largest employers, word of new investments in Ford's 2 Louisville plants could send ripples of confidence through the local economy. And that goes for the company's approximately 12,000 employees as well, especially at LAP, Ford's Louisville assembly plant.
We now have certainty and closure that we're going to have men and women, mothers, fathers, sons and daughters working in that assembly plant.
Information currently distributed to UAW members includes news of Ford's $8.1 billion investment in U.S. plants. That includes $1.2 billion for LAP. In addition to Ford Escapes and Lincoln Corsairs, there is an as-yet unnamed electric vehicle planned for assembly. There will also be $750 million invested in the Kentucky truck plant, ensuring the continuation of Super Duty trucks, expeditions, and navigators. Together, the investments indicate a generational commitment to local manufacturing rarely seen in decades. UAW local president Todd Dunn views the newly negotiated contract as a new day for labor.
What we see is a contract that I would say is almost epic as far as in proportions to anything that I've seen in my 29 years. It's about future, it's about family.
And if approved by a vote of the rank and file, the future those families will see, according to UAW information, includes historic bumps in pay and a restoration of cost of living adjustments, a 25% general wage increase.
Still to come on News 40 at 10, new details into the main mass shooting are painting a clearer picture of what led up to the 18 people that were killed. The latest details in just a bit, but first, Weather Chief Chris Allen is back once again. We've seen him 2 times already. We'll see him a 3rd time. He'll have a full look at your weather forecast next.
Saturdays are for football. WNKY 40 is your college football headquarters. Watch games all day on WNKY CBS 40 and NBC 40.
I'm Ashley Wilson. Here's what's coming up tomorrow on News 40 Sunrise. Get the inside scoop on this year's annual Stars and Six Strings benefit concert. Plus, learn the story of how one local veteran served our country in this week's Voices of Honor. These stories on News 40 Sunrise.
Kentucky's Attorney General should protect our kids. But as a prosecutor, Russell Coleman gave sweetheart plea deals to dangerous sex offenders. One criminal Coleman faced sexually abused an unconscious child, created child pornography, and got a plea deal for less than the minimum sentence. In case after case, judges overruled Coleman's deals as too soft on predators. Stop Coleman. Protect Kentucky's kids.
Breast cancer is a leading cause of cancer death among women in the United States. In Kentucky, over 30,000 people will be diagnosed this year. Early detection reduces your risk and increases treatment options. MedCenter Health Diagnostic Imaging offers digital and 3D mammography, ultrasound, and MRI options for early detection. Our 6 locations across South Central Kentucky make it easy for you to schedule your mammogram close to home. Our team cares for people
together. During the COVID pandemic,
I fought against Washington's unconstitutional assault on our rights. In Kentucky, Daniel Cameron did the same. When Andy Beshear shut down our places of worship, Cameron led the fight to reopen churches, taking Governor Beshear to court, and Cameron won and ensured that you had the right to worship freely. That's why I'm voting for Daniel Cameron, because no matter the fight, Cameron will safeguard your rights.
Protect Freedom PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
WNKY News 40 is always on at WNKY.com.
Time now for a full look at our forecast with Weather Chief Chris Allen. Chris, it's been a spooky night, and it's just definitely some bone-chilling weather out there today.
Did you go trick-or-treating?
Unfortunately, I did not. I was able to go home and kind of hang out for a little bit, but unfortunately, no trick-or-treaters coming out.
Wait, this means no candy.
This does mean no candy. I do have sweets later, though, if you'd like some. It's not candy, but it's chocolate chip cookies, if you'd like some.
Down there, man.
Oh, okay.
It's not good now. All right, now, hopefully you guys had a good evening out, even though it was cold, as you said. It is bone-chilling cold out there this evening. It's now 36 with a northwest wind, I should say, at 3. The winds have died down a bit, and they will continue to die down this evening. It was the weak cold front that brought the winds up a bit this evening, and just right in time for the beginning of trick-or-treating till it just about ended, 8 o'clock or so. The winds were up there, and now they've died down, so it's feeling a little bit better, but still there's a bit of a wind chill, humidity at 52%. The dew point is already at an extra dry 20. This means it is going to be an extra dry evening and a very cold night ahead for us as skies begin to clear behind that weak frontal boundary. We're still seeing a few scattered clouds across the area, and here comes that northwest breeze as it continues to push through. The frontal boundary is now east of us. Any kind of precipitation, which, as I mentioned earlier, some folks up near the central bluegrass section of Kentucky, up near Lexington, Fayette County, those locations actually saw some flying snowflakes this evening. Not a big deal, not affecting travel at all. Here's our high pressure center, which is going to continue to move eastward over time. In the meantime, since we are east of the center of high pressure, that means the wind flow is going to continue to come out of the northwest, albeit lighter tonight than it was a little bit earlier this evening. As we go through time and get into tomorrow morning, we're going to see just a few clouds left over in wake of that frontal boundary, but any precipitation is going to be well off to the north of us. That high is going to continue to move east over the next several days. So we're going to begin to see a warming trend. Maybe not so much tomorrow, but especially into Thursday, because as the center of high pressure begins to move further east, we'll be on the backside of it, and that means our winds, which you see here on Wednesday afternoon tomorrow, will then start to shift from the south and become more southerly, and that naturally means we're going to warm things up. When is our next chance of rain? Well, it looks like it's going to wait until the beginning of next week. Between now and then, we're going to stay dry and progressively warm as we go through time, especially as we get into the latter half of the weekend. But tonight, it is going to be another hard freeze like it was last night. So if you left any plants or vegetation outdoors this evening, they're likely to freeze over, and that'll be the end of the growing season. In fact, it was last night as we had that happen. Breezy still at times with a low of 25, and that means wind chills could certainly be in the teens. Tomorrow, sunny but chilly, 48. We warm it up to the mid-50s on Thursday, and then this is where we should be this time of the year for high temperatures the weekend into the mid and upper 60s to near 70. Next chance of rain coming in Monday night and into Tuesday. Then we're going to cool down once again. We're back with more of the rest of News 40 at 10 right after this.
My opponent's campaign is built on attacks and lies. But you know me, and you know it isn't true. We've been through a lot together. And now, we're building the Commonwealth we've always dreamed of. We're a leader in economic growth, tens of thousands of new jobs, our lowest unemployment rate ever, delivering on major infrastructure projects and bringing high-speed internet everywhere. We're building a bright future here for all of our families.
My mom's Alzheimer's never changed how much we love her, but it did change her. She developed agitation that may happen with dementia due to Alzheimer's disease. She started yelling, pacing around, kept repeating the same questions. She got agitated often, so we asked her doctor for help. Rexulti is the only FDA-approved medication proven to reduce agitation symptoms that may happen with dementia due to Alzheimer's disease. Rexulti can cause serious side effects. Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke. Report fever, stiff muscles, and confusion, which can be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death. Weight gain, increased cholesterol, low white blood cells, unusual urges, dizziness on standing, falls, seizures, trouble swallowing, or sleepiness may occur. Take action for your loved one. Ask their doctor about Rexulti.
Just rockin' and rollin', baby. Come back tomorrow.
We got you all fixed up. Got it all fixed up for you, ma'am. Let there be light, ma'am.
Looks like she finally called JB.
FBI Director Christopher Wray was on Capitol Hill today warning Americans about the growing terror threats on the U.S. homeland, saying that the risk of a terrorist attack on the U.S. has risen, quote, to a whole other level not seen since the emergence of ISIS. Scott McFarland reports tonight from Capitol Hill.
A sober warning from the director of the FBI that the war between Israel and Hamas could lead to attacks in the U.S.
Our most immediate concern is that violent extremists, individuals or small groups, will draw inspiration from the events in the Middle East to carry out attacks against Americans going about their daily lives.
Director Christopher Wray said domestic terrorists could target Jewish or Muslim communities, and he specifically mentioned the arrest of a man in Houston earlier this month,
Who'd been studying how to build bombs and posted online about his support for killing Jews.
He was referring to Sohaib Abouyash. In court records obtained by CBS News, prosecutors allege the 20-year-old Jordanian living in Texas, seen here at a firing range, trained with weapons to possibly commit an attack, and talked of killing people of particular religious faiths.
We shouldn't stop conducting our daily lives, going to schools, houses of worship, and so forth, but we should be vigilant.
The FBI is also probing anti-Semitic threats against students at Cornell University. And today, New York's governor announced a person of interest in custody.
Every single New Yorker has a right to feel safe and to be safe.
Meanwhile, in Nevada, a judge has scheduled a November 13th hearing in the case of John Anthony Miller, charged with making violent, vulgar, anti-Semitic threats toward Democratic Senator Jackie Rosen, showing up outside her Las Vegas office.
Look at the protests around the world. Jews are feeling under attack.
The FBI director also said both al-Qaeda and ISIS have called for attacks on the U.S., but said at this time they're not tracking any imminent, credible threats. Scott McFarland, CBS News, the Capitol.
Former U.S. Treasury Secretary Jack Lew is taking on a new role. On Tuesday, the Senate confirmed him as the new U.S. ambassador to Israel. The Senate confirmed the 68-year-old Lew despite strong objections from Republicans. GOP members criticized the choice because of Lew's involvement with the Iran nuclear deal during the Obama administration. Ahead of Tuesday's confirmation vote, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer endorsed Lew, saying it was important to fill the vacancy amid the current conflict in Gaza between Israel and Hamas. Schumer said Lew has a proven record as a public servant and is a, quote, ferocious ally of Israel. Well, tonight we're getting a clearer picture of the warning signs, some going back months, that perhaps could have prevented the mass shooting in Maine that killed 18 people. Jeff Paggs reports families are asking why more wasn't done.
Bill was his hero.
Rob Young's older brother Bill and his 14-year-old nephew Aaron were enjoying a father-son night out last Wednesday when the gunman burst into the bowling alley and started shooting.
It's a tragedy that it had to be at a bowling alley where they were taken.
He's frustrated enough wasn't done to stop Robert Card before the deadly rampage. Are you frustrated, angry?
Honestly, I can't get angry because I'll snap. I've been trying really hard not to dwell too hard on it. He killed one of our children.
In newly released documents, the Saginaw County Sheriff's Department says that in May, the Card family reached out to them to tell them that Robert Card's mental health was deteriorating. In July, Card's Army unit had him admitted for a psychiatric evaluation for 14 days, noting that he was hearing voices and making threats against the base. In September, after continued threats to shoot up a drill center, the Army Reserve requested the Sheriff's Department do a wellness check. On back-to-back days in September, a deputy visited Card's home but did not reach him, and that prompted a statewide alert that went out saying he was armed and dangerous. Card's brother also told a deputy that he would work to secure any firearms that Card had access to. A month later, the statewide alert was canceled just 1 week before the massacre. Bill Bratton is the former New York City police commissioner. What should have happened?
A couple of welfare visits was not enough, quite clearly. A full investigation would determine exactly what actions did the deputies take.
There was another warning from the Army, informing law enforcement that Card shouldn't be around ammunition or firearms. Behind me, a group called Hearts of Mercy and Compassion has erected 18 crosses in honor of the victims of this shooting. There will be funerals over the next several days. Jeff Begay, CBS News, Lewiston, Maine.
When we come back, Patrick Carey is in with a look at your sports next.
Hey, I'm Elias Gomez, and 3 things you're going to learn about me this week are tropical, hot rods, and country music.
Catch us this week on Marquee Backstage.
Summer skies, they warm up everything. Then fall comes around, and you know it's getting near. Christmas is my favorite time.
Experience so much Christmas the way Santa does.
Join the WNKY News 40 weather team. Visit WNKY.com to become a weather watcher.
There's nothing quite as cozy and comfortable as a recliner from Ford's, like this power recliner in top grain leather with cup holders, phone charger, and lumbar support for only $8.99. Or this leather swivel glider for only $6.99. Now at Ford's Furniture.
WNKY News 40 Weather wants you to join our team. Become a weather watcher at WNKY.com. You can connect directly with our team. Plus, your photos and videos will be featured in our weathercasts.
Presented by JB Electric. Grab some lunch and make an impact. Join WNKY News 40 for Food Truck Fridays every week at Tidball's parking lot. This week features California Street Tacos to benefit Kiwanis' Sensory Music Garden. See the full lineup at WNKY.com.
Daniel Cameron says it's
one of the first things I will do as governor.
Bringing back former Governor Matt Bevin's ruthless Medicaid plan, threatening to take away coverage from over 95,000 Kentuckians, punishing working parents, putting rural hospitals in danger of shutting down.
This sounds very similar to something that Governor Matt Bevin tried.
Well, absolutely.
Denying people coverage, devastating rural health care.
Something that Governor Matt Bevin tried.
Well, absolutely.
Cameron's absolutely wrong for Kentucky.
Name an animal the wife doesn't mind her husband calling her.
Piggy.
Don't do that.
Family Feud. Weeknights at 5 and 6:30.
Well, welcome to sports. The WKU soccer team earned a handful of honors today ahead of postseason play. Conference USA released its all-conference teams and all-freshman team, of which 5 tops were included. Katie Irwin was named the CUSA first team. Maddie Davis was named to the second team. Amber Barnett and Sydney Ernst were named to the third team. And Rebecca Roth was named to the all-freshman team. The tops will begin the CUSA tournament tomorrow at Louisiana Tech. Well, the WKU women's basketball team took on Lane College in a scrimmage to kick off the 2023 season tonight. The Lady Toppers put on an absolute clinic on Halloween night against the Lady Dragons. WKU had 6 players post double-digit points en route to a 100-37 win. Nevaeh Foster led the way with 17 points, followed by Acacia Hayes, who tallied 15. Here's what head coach Greg Collins had to say after tonight's win.
Thought the girls played really hard with a lot of intensity. Wasn't always perfect, but we talked about just playing with great energy and enthusiasm. Thought they brought that. We'll work on the execution and trying to clean up some things over the next 4 days, 4 practices before we get Mercer in here.
Well, the Louisville men's basketball team fell in a scrimmage against Kentucky Wesleyan last night. With the game tied up at the half at 26, the Panthers took down Kenny Payne's squad in the Yum Center after outscoring the Cards 45-42 in the second half. Cards will face UMBC to open their season on November 6th, while the Panthers of Kentucky Wesleyan will open on the road against WKU here in Diddle Arena. Well, staying in Cards Nation, the Louisville football team is gearing up for another ACC matchup this weekend. After shutting out Duke, the Cards are set to now host the Virginia Tech Hokies. The Hokies are currently 4-4 on the season and are current winners of 2 straight. Here were head coach Jeff Brom's thoughts on a key thing to help take the team to the next level.
We have to, once again, figure out ways to make them do things that maybe they don't do as much. And I think we've had success with Notre Dame and Duke in getting a lead and making them throw the ball more than they wanted. That's not always going to happen. So you can make that your formula, but it doesn't always happen. So you have to be able to adjust and find ways to play when you're down, but also execute the desired plan that we're trying to get.
And the Tennessee Titans are getting ready for a Thursday night football matchup with the Pittsburgh Steelers at Acrisure Stadium. The Titans are coming off a win over the Falcons in the debut game for quarterback Will Levis, in which he threw for over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns. Ahead of the Week 9 contest, head coach Mike Vrabel discussed the quarterback situation.
I think we probably would say that if Ryan can't go, I mean, we'll move forward with Will, and then we'll see, where Ryan is. Again, it is a short week, but also we'll have to, see who is available to us at every position.
That's a look at sports. We'll be right back.
Feels good to be home. Ashley's Black Friday is going on now. Get up to 75% off holiday hot buys or get 0% interest for 60 months with no down payment. Only at Ashley.
Football Frenzy is back in South Central Kentucky. WNKY News 40 is your home for high school football. The most schools, the most highlights, the most coverage. Catch Football Frenzy Friday nights at 10 on WNKY News 40.
As Kentucky families struggled, Joe Biden brags.
Bidenomics is working.
Andy Beshear agrees. Beshear backed Biden's disastrous economic policies. Now he's endorsing Biden for re-election.
This president delivered.
For Andy Beshear, he did, giving $250,000 to fund his agenda.
I want to thank the president.
Beshear's with Biden. Trump backs Daniel Cameron. If you stand with Trump, vote Cameron for governor. Club for Growth Action is responsible for the content of this ad.
My opponent's campaign is built on attacks and lies. But you know me, and you know it isn't true. We've been through a lot together, and now we're building the Commonwealth we've always dreamed of. We're a leader in economic growth, tens of thousands of new jobs, our lowest unemployment rate ever, delivering on major infrastructure projects and bringing high-speed internet everywhere. We're building a bright future here for all of our families.
WNKY News 40 Weather wants you to join our team. Become a weather watcher at WNKY.com. You can connect directly with our team. Plus, your photos and videos will be featured in our weathercasts.
Presented by JB Electric.
Hey, I'm Elias Gomez, and 3 things you're going to learn about me this week are tropical, hot rods, and country music.
Catch us this week on Marquee Backstage.
WNKY News 40 is always on at WNKY.com.
Feels good to be home. Ashley's Black Friday mattress sale is going on now. Get 0% interest for 60 months on top mattress brands. Plus, get Ashley's price match guarantee on all mattress purchases. Save $1,000 on Sealy Princeton Queen mattresses only at Ashley.
Well, guys, it's Halloween night, and as you can clearly see, I'm in my best Morgan Hoover costume today. Yeah, Morgan is unfortunately not here today. We wish her the best. She's going through a little bit of trouble here today. But, Chris, it's Halloween night. What else you got to say?
It is, and it's a cold one. If you've not been outside yet, you're going to find out very quickly.
Yes, you will.
Because it's going to get all the way down to 25 tonight, breezy. And another hard freeze, and that breeze makes it feel even colder than that, with wind chills possibly in the teens by tomorrow morning. And then we're only going to warm it up into the upper 40s tomorrow, but then a warming trend the next few days after that. We'll go 50s, 60s, and even 70s into the weekend.
That's definitely a good sign, Chris.
It is.
Well, that does it for tonight's edition of News 40 at 10. Join us back here at 6 a.m. for Soaky Sunrise, and stay with us on WNKY.com for the latest. Have a good night.
Knock on strangers' doors and lie about who they are.